Thanks for listening to the Pop Culture Cosmos and the PCC Multiverse. Check out more great podcasts today on one of these awesome affiliate networks.
You're listening to a Weeby Geeks Network podcast.
You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
The Tangibound Network. Check it out. TangiboundNetwork.com. Listen to this show, the latest episode, every time.
A proud member of the Gonna Geek Network. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other geeky podcasts over at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready, because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
On this week's episode, is there too much Sonic the Hedgehog? Is it truly Bond? James Bond? And what types of pop culture board gaming should you play very soon? All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse.
Don't be alarmed. The quasi-shimmering light before you is a trans-dimensional gateway to other worlds, other voices, other thoughts, and other realities. Up feels like down, and down feels like the number 7 on a Wednesday morning. Don't worry. That quivering, blood-boiling sensation under your eyebrows is all a part of the charm. Welcome to the PCC Multiverse.
And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. Thank you so much for listening to all of our great shows. We've got Josh Peterson coming up a little bit later in the program talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. Rob McCallum in the middle of the Cosmic Crossfire talking about the latest James Bond controversy. Plus also as well a clip from one of the latest Topicocalypse shows. But first, my good friend is here. He is one of the crazy kids behind Mario Party Wars. You got to check it out today. Mario Party Wars on Facebook, Mario Party Wars on Twitter, and of course, they do a lot of streaming out on Twitch at Mario Party Wars. Plus also there's first-person shooter nights with Bad Luck Yelthin, and they also have their tournaments up there as well. It's my good friend, our expert when it comes to board gaming, Salvador Villa. What's going on, my friend?
It's a pleasure to be here, Gerald. Thank you for having me. I'm doing good, by the way.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It sounds like you've had a much better week than I have. Mine has been like a roller coaster like you would not believe. But I am here now talking with you. First, I want to talk to you about board gaming because you are the man in the know when it comes to board gaming. There is a lot of pop culture things I wanted to talk about when it comes to board games. Obviously, the icons of pop culture are there as far as when it comes to board games for Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Star Trek, you name it, they're probably out there. But I want to hear your thoughts on some pop culture board games that you really think people should try for a game night very soon.
Tabletop gaming and pop culture as a whole is kind of blended together now. I probably can't think of any series at this point, like whether it's about games or movies or anything like that, that probably hasn't had some kind of interpretation and or adaptation for board games. But for the most part, so I haven't played, I would say, too many pop culture tabletop games, but there are a few I feel like are great startups to at least getting into, like, if you really are into pop culture and you really want to play them. I have a few recommendations along with like those that I haven't played, but I've heard many, many good things about over the years already. But so the first one, I don't know if you're familiar with Love Letter, but it's a very simple and classic card game where it's literally you play with other people and you draw and you play actions. That's literally how your turn goes. And the point of the game is to get the highest numbered card, which is usually going from 1 through 8. But like it originally just starts with the princess. The point of the game is to find the princess. But over the years, I actually have one version that I really love. Love Letter, The Hobbit from the Battle of the Five Armies. Love Letter has probably interpreted more pop culture than any game I know of for the most part. They have this, they have one for Batman. They have one for Munchkin if you're already into like tabletop gaming as a whole. A bunch of others, and so a lot of them play a little bit different from like the normal one, but they're really fun games. They still keep that very simple kind of charm that Love Letter is. which is just to be either the last person standing or to get the highest numbered card toward the end of the game. And so, like, for a very simple game and one that has like a lot of adaptation to it, I would recommend Love Letter for sure. And you can pretty much find it at any store, like any basic tabletop store. They'll have pretty much and almost any adaptation of Love Letter. Some more than others, but you can definitely find a bunch of them around in any store.
Well, it sounds like they have almost as many pop culture references or pop culture versions of this particular game as almost as much as Monopoly, because you and I both know when it comes to the king of offshooting itself into various pop culture realities, Monopoly is still the king out there.
Yeah, the closest thing against Monopoly right now is Munchkin, because Munchkin, I think, has like 20 years under its belt. So it's pretty old on its own for a game probably that is not nearly as popular as Monopoly, but it has so many different pop culture versions that you can just combine with the different decks. And for those of you who haven't played Munchkin yet, I do recommend that game specifically with a large group of friends. It's a pretty fun game.
Now, there are other games out there that I know you've been targeting. I know you've been playing because when you follow Salvador Villa at Mario Party Wars, he is inevitably going to show you that he's somewhere in the city of Las Vegas at some game store playing any number of board games out there. And you just came back recently from the latest national board gaming tournament, the one that was just happened recently, correct?
Yeah, so this one was more of a little special, I guess, like regional type of event. I don't know what's going to happen following this because I've heard a few like financial problems that they're facing right now. Even though last year was amazing for like their finals, it was really, really amazing. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, that was a fantastic day. For anyone who hasn't seen Unrivaled, I highly recommend checking them out. Even if there's a little bit of issues going on right now, it's a really great idea what they're doing, and hopefully to see what happens in the future with them.
What was some of the games that was recently shown at the Unrivaled tournament? Because these are games that are not only very popular with the strategic hardcore audience, but they obviously have a line of people that could be as well from a casual standpoint as well. Yeah,
so essentially for a casual standpoint, I would say one of the most popular games, I would say like it's really popular, is Exploding Kittens. Which is literally, it's a simple card game where you just play against a group of friends. You all have a diffuser, and in the deck there's like 5 or 6 bombs, and basically the point of the game is to play your cards as different actions and try to be the last one standing before the bombs get you. And it's just one of those simple games. And that's what I really like about Unrivaled as a whole. It's games like that where, like, with some of them you don't need like absolute skill. Sometimes it's just more about having fun.
Well, Exploding Kittens has been huge now for 2, 3, even 4 years going back. Mm-hmm. From what I remember, I know it's a big seller at Amazon. I've seen it not only in the top 100, but I believe also in the top 10 of selling board games or card games of its like, as far as Exploding Kittens. Plus also Walmart and Target, I believe, have picked it up as well. I've seen it in Target stores, in fact. So it has crossed over into the mainstream and become a big seller in the board gaming world.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that one, I would say that one tops most of the others that I saw for like what they were trying to do this year for Unrivaled. Although I competed in the Evolution tournament, which is that one is definitely more strategic, but it's a card game of creating your own species. I would just say they're dinosaurs, but to each their own of how they want to interpret it, because they're basically called species, and you basically use cards to strengthen your species and to either earn as much points by like making your species survive, or attacking the other players using like carnivore to eat your opponent's species, among other things, to gather points. And once the deck runs out, it's whoever has the most points at the end of the game that wins. I almost won out. I needed just like 1 or 2 more turns, but congrats to the winners that did make it past.
Well, we'll let them slide for this time, but next year I'm sure we'll get them. Now, there obviously are a lot of games out there that, as the summer's closing and getting into the fall and back to school time, but there's still some time to play some great games out there. what are some more recommendations that you have as for board gaming, pop culture related or not, for some really top choices for the rest of this summer?
Yeah, well, so I'm going to go into maybe one that's pop culture based. I know the Lovecraft series, so anyone who loves stuff like Cthulhu and the lore behind that, those kind of that kind of literature and stuff. I've played the Arkham series. There's like Arkham Mansion, Mansion of Madness, Arkham Horror, quite a few variations of the different games that can be played for it. But I would recommend the Arkham series, whether it's like Elder Sign, which is like a smaller version of what the others are, or the one I've played personally, Arkham Horror. Not a game I would recommend to a beginner because it's very complex and it like setup takes quite a while to build. And for the most part, the game goes against you. But if you love like Cthulhu, if you love the Lovecraft lore, the Arkham series for sure is a great game. It's a great strategy game, and specifically, it's a co-op game. So it's a great way for you and your close friends to actually get to play and try to seal back the ancient ones that are trying to escape and cause havoc to the world that, for whatever reason, that they were summoned. So for sure, the Arkham series, I know, for anyone who loves strategy games and specifically co-op games, I would recommend those that has like a pop culture feel to it, especially for the Lovecraft lore.
I also want to ask you about, in recent times, I've noted on our Pop Culture Cosmos social media outlets that Hasbro, which owns the rights to not only Dungeons and Dragons, but also owns the rights to Magic the Gathering, not only are they talking about doing something later this year or in the future, talking about combining game element between those two major icons of the gaming industry, but also the fact that Dungeons and Dragons, according to the Hasbro CEO, is doing better than ever before. What are your thoughts on all that when it comes to Magic the Gathering, the success of Dungeons and Dragons, and is there anything really that you play that matches or something similar as far as the fantasy world, if they do not want to go exactly and delve into the deeper world of Dungeons and Dragons?
So I'm not much of an RPG player, mostly because I don't have time to like create a character and meet up with my friends to like do very, very specific sessions for a campaign. But yeah, for the most part, over the last, I would say, a good 5 years, role-playing games has definitely spiked in the interest. I would say specifically it's thanks to the tabletop industry and how much it's growing over the years with the amount of developers and publishers that are now entering the market. So many games that are coming out. And so the interest of tabletop gaming as a whole has really brought that back. And yeah, for the most part, Hasbro, Wizard of the Coast, for Magic the Gathering, they've all been like trying to push their games to the market. And thanks to the fact that you have so many other things that's combined with RPG games, like cosplaying is a big thing because people love to cosplay and play role-playing games. You have things like Geek and Sundry that have started like live role-playing games that people can actually watch being streamed. The players actually act out their characters as they're playing their campaign. There's a lot that has evolved over the years, especially for games like role-playing RPGs and things, or miniatures as well, that has really pushed and gotten the interest more for everyone around, especially for those that maybe have never had the chance to play it, and now they get opportunities to do so. In terms of like games I've played that are like almost to RPGs, although I'm not like a huge miniatures fan, I do love certain miniature games, those that aren't like as easily complex. One I've gotten to personally play in the past at MeepleCon is called Fury of Dracula. And for those of you who love vampires, it's a great miniature game of either you are on the opposing team to hound down Dracula, or you play as Dracula and try to avoid the humans and or hunters that are trying to come after you, using a variety of different tactics on the board to play against.
That's some great ideas there. As far as something that if you don't have the time to delve into the world of Dungeons and Dragons or Magic the Gathering, because those two games, as great as they are, they do take quite a time investment, and also a monetary is one as well, that this could be an alternative that people might see as far as getting into that at least delves into some of those aspects as well. I want to ask you, for those that are kind of maybe leery on getting into it, they want to dip their toes in the water when it comes to board gaming. let's say they come and see you, you're there at the board game store. They see you there. They know who you are from all the great things that you're doing in Mario Party Wars and the big celebrity that you are. They walk in there, and after they get your autograph, they say, Sal, you got to help me, man. You got to help me. I'm a novice to board gaming. I want you to lead me into the right direction. Your choice for, I guess, starting board gamers, as far as what would be a great place to start for people just getting into the board gaming scene.
So I would have a variety of different ones, depending on, like, I would ask them first, like, what kind of games do you think you'd be into? Like short games, long games, it would depend. But games like Munchkin, for a little bit longer sessions, I would definitely recommend, especially with a group. Love Letter, which I recommended earlier, for a very, very simple game, one that people can just pick up on in like 5 minutes, and they get to play and see the kind of interactivity and experience that tabletop gaming can offer. Exploding Kids is definitely another great recommendation for sure for someone who's just starting off. I would also say Settlers of Catan, although that one is a little more complex. If they're into more strategy rather than like simplistic, it's a great game I would recommend as well. And then for anyone who's like more about just literally trying to mess with their friends or trying to get relaxed into meeting new people, games like Apples to Apples, Cards Against Humanity, those kind of social card games that are just all about getting to meet new people would be another must for sure for those that are first starting off.
Cards Against Humanity, that one has skyrocketed big, like we were talking about some of the other games previously. Plus also Catan, I know that has become a major seller. I see that at major retailers all over, Amazon, Walmart, Target. I've seen them all carry that game, and I'll tell you what, those are some great choices to get people off the ground running as far as the board gaming scene. He is the man among all legends at Mario Party Wars. It doesn't happen without Salvador Villa involved in it, and you got to check it out today. Mario Party Wars, they are doing some great things all the time when it comes to the video gaming scene, plus their love of Mario Party. And Mario Party has been named as one of the games that's coming out very soon from the Nintendo Switch, which I know at the time your group was really excited for. And I mean really excited for. So tell me your thoughts on Mario Party coming up for the Nintendo Switch. The trailer came out, a lot of good reviews on it so far, but I want to hear from the people that love Mario Party the most. What are your thoughts on Mario Party coming to the Nintendo Switch? We knew it was going to happen, my friend, but it's nice to see that's just around the corner.
Yeah, so I actually wasn't sure when Nintendo was going to release another Mario Party, given the way Star Rush and more toward that style that they tried going for in the most recent games, and didn't do too well with most consumers. When I saw the trailer, and even like everyone else at Mario Party Wars for the most part watched it, they were just really excited for it. For me personally, they did exactly what I was hoping for the most part, in terms of what I feel the new route of Mario Party can become, which is a combination of what they tried with Star Rush, where they involved you basically recruiting characters that can add their own unique effects and abilities to help you win the game, along with like the whole concept of, I mean, they brought back the whole you can go around on board on your own concept, which I really thought was great. I wouldn't have minded the way Star Rush did it, where it was an open-ended board game where you all move at the same time. But for the most part, I mean, yeah, they're coming back with the traditional and adding with new concepts that I feel like are gonna work. Not to mention that there's 80 mini games in this new Mario Party game, which I think is the highest amount of mini games any Mario Party has been given so far. So there's also going to be a lot of opportunities to really play like new experiences for mini games, and maybe even bring back a little bit of like the old school mini game charm that a lot of us grew up with when the franchise first began.
That's right. It's coming October 5th to the Nintendo Switch, Super Mario Party. I know you're looking forward to it. I know the crazy kids at Mario Party Wars are definitely looking forward to it. And you know what? Everybody else out there, if they have any affinity at all for the Mario Party series, or just wants to go ahead and try something new when it comes out, definitely give Super Mario Party a look when it comes out October 5th to the Nintendo Switch. I will say this. It's great having you guys a part of everything we do here at Pop Culture Cosmos, the PCC Multiverse, and everything that you do for our shows. And hopefully that we can not only continue it throughout the entirety of our program, but as we garner new radio stations, as we garner new podcast networks for our syndicated networks, I just want to make sure everybody out there continues to know about and continues to hear the good word of your great organization, Mario Party Wars. So I'll tell you what, Sal, just want to wish you and the team continued success with Mario Party Wars. And again, out there, if everybody wants to know the latest and greatest going on with Mario Party tournaments, and just see, some great things going on and interact with some people who are just having a great time, check it out today, Mario Party Wars, on all the major social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch as well. It's been great, Sal, as always, my friend, and continued success to you. And I'm going to be hitting you up soon when I need more board gaming advice, because, after I get your autograph, of course.
Nah, and I'll be ready for that. I've got plenty more lined up for you guys.
Awesome. MeepleCon will be coming up, and then maybe Unrivaled. You never know, that might come back again. So hopefully we'll wait and see.
True.
Exactly. And then, people, when it gets colder, they're going to need something to do. Board games is just a ticket as well, my friend. So I will be getting you back for Christmas gift giving, Thanksgiving, holiday season, and all that. So it's a great time again for board gaming at any point in time of the year. So it's just always great to have you aboard here talking all the wonderful things about tabletop gaming.
Thank you so much for your time, for the opportunities, and just all the support you've given us.
No worries, my friend. As always, it's great having you part of the Pop Culture Cosmos.
You're listening to the Pop Culture Cosmos.
And we're back with another episode of the Cosmic Crossfire. It's Gerald coming right back at you once again. Thanks again for listening in to all of our shows. But it wouldn't be a Cosmic Crossfire without my good friend. He is the man of all tricks when it comes to Rob McCallum films. You got to check out everything that he's doing, and he's doing quite a bit, at robmccallumfilms.com, Rob McCallum Films on Facebook, and Rob McZob on Twitter. Is my good friend. He is the man, the myth, the legend. It's Rob McCallum. But we're here to talk pop culture, and you're the man to talk to, as always, about it. So pray tell, Rob, what's on your mind when it comes to pop culture?
There is a class action suit that was against MGM and Fox that had to do with the release of the complete and entire Bond set that came out. So a while ago, there was a class action suit brought against the studio because they released an all-encompassing James Bond collection. And one woman in particular said this doesn't include all films because it didn't include the David Niven Casino Royale from the 60s and Never Say Never Again, the Sean Connery Thunderball retelling that went head-to-head against Octopussy in the Summer of Bond, which featured Roger Moore. Now, these aren't official franchise canon films, but they are James Bond stories. And the judge who released a 45-page document said that, there's a lot of different ways that it can go, and it ended up being settled outside of court. And MGM and Fox are basically going to provide almost $9 million in Bond films to end the class action suit. These are digital rewards, though. So it's not like they're printing these discs that go part of this Blu-ray set that was released. They're going to give digital codes to the people that want to have them as part of their collection. And the settlement also ensures that future packagings of the set will describe the contents of the set, so that it's clear that any collection does not include these non-franchise movies in any way. What do you think of this lawsuit to begin with? Does it have merit? Are these people being overzealous in what they want, or is it legit? And do you think MGM and Fox agreeing to give digital versions of these is enough?
Well, it leads to a larger question. Do you consider, as a general consumer, what is canon in the Bond pantheon? I mean, you are a Bond aficionado. I've enjoyed the Bond films. I've seen all of them except for the David Niven. And also, wasn't there one with Woody Allen as well, or am I mistaken?
He's in that one as well.
Okay, so I ask you, man, what are your thoughts on it first? I'll elaborate right after that.
For Bond, it's never really been about canon, right? I mean, the fact that they rebooted everything with Casino Royale and rewrote what canon was, it's not about accuracy of character or adventure. The stories aren't told in a linear order in any way, maybe from the Daniel Craig stuff on, because they're building upon the previous chapter of that Bond. Maybe to a lesser extent with Roger Moore, some of the relationships he has with Goodnight, Barbara Brock, and The Spy Who Loved Me, and then how she comes back. And I think A View to a Kill, there's a little play based on the relationship in the previous films. And with Jaws and some of the other smaller characters, there's a callback. But by and large, these are standalone chapters that can be played in any order, and it's Bond kind of doing his thing. So you could watch Dr. No later, or From Russia with Love later, and even if you look at the George Lazenby on Her Majesty's Secret Service, that's another standalone Bond film that doesn't have anything, but it's part of the canon. It was official release from the franchise owners. So it's not a question of canon, it's a question of character and where it fits in. So because it is James Bond legitimately and legally, I think they're part of the set. I think because they have the rights to that character, and the set is saying this is every James Bond film, then I think you've got to kind of yield to what your packaging says.
I agree with you on that. I think that if you have to go ahead and if they do acknowledge especially I think when it comes down to the Sean Connery film, the David Niven film, I think you definitely have to consider that, even though a lot of people consider the Dr. No, the original Bond. I think David Niven with Casino Royale obviously fits into that narrative. But I think what it comes down to is that Sean Connery film that was made, like you said, in alignment with a studio film in Octopussy at that time. I think that's where it comes into line, because obviously it was made as a what kind of, let's say, a unofficial James Bond. I think that's what it was trying to throw it off as. And James Bond, the name is referred to in that movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's called James Bond, and where the interesting kind of backstory with that is, it's basically a retelling of Thunderball, because Thunderball was co-written by Ian Fleming and this other gentleman who I forget his name, but that's what basically gave him the rights to remake Thunderball and call it Never Say Never Again. At one point, this person with the rights as well claimed character rights as well to own the James Bond character. That was later kind of thrown out, that he hadn't done enough distinguishing features and character traits, but they did allow him to to hold the rights of Thunderball, the story, and that's what opened the window for him to do his own story again. So that's why Never Say Never Again happened.
Okay, because
it is an official James Bond adventure.
Exactly, even though if Sony may not want to say it. But yeah, if that's the case, then I think you would have to complete the whole narrative on that, including that story and the David Niven story as well.
Now, are the digital awards enough for these people that bought an entire Blu-ray set with, 25 discs, and they're just giving 2 digital download codes?
I would actually, if I had bought the entire series, and actually I was contemplating at one point, I would actually want the actual physical Blu-ray release as well.
Yeah, and I think the only problem with that is that it gets messy, because it's like, okay, I'll send you the 2 Blu-rays, but they're not going to fit in the set, because that set is manufactured to have all the discs and display in a certain way. You can't insert another page. Were you going to stick something to the back and to the end? Like, how do you make that work so that it's part of the set? I think the thing that you do is you get people to send their set in, and you produce another set that has all the discs, and it becomes exclusive to the people that are part of the class action only.
Or you also do that alongside with a re-release, including those 2 actually for new consumers, and because they've already stopped production on that original set, correct?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I don't know where it sits.
Well, that should have been part of the legal proceedings, and that should have been part of the settlement, that they stop production on it and go ahead and try and create a new one if they want to go ahead and delve into a full box set of the entire Bond collection.
It's still available on Amazon for $250, so I'm not sure if it's actually stopped or not. You can never stop the reseller market. This looks like it's a pretty official release, though. So I'll leave you with that to consider. But yeah, I think that would probably be the best bet. But do they want to reissue and re-put it out there? Maybe they could use that to their advantage in marketing, now including unofficial Bond films, Never Say Never Again, and original Casino Royale. And then include some documentaries on how those films fit into it or don't fit into it, and what the role is, and like turn it into like a marketing plus. All in all, I think we're both on the right track there, where for once that they're part of the Bond series, and people should have probably got more than just a digital code, which actually doesn't cost the company anything. It's just a possible paper loss on the digital reward.
Exactly. It's just all bonus material for them, and maybe just paying out some residuals, which at this point probably is not a whole lot. Rob, as always, my friend, it's great talking to you. All kidding aside, truly appreciate the time you take for us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos and, of course, the Cosmic Crossfire. Nothing's better when grilling your favorite meal than adding some delicious Wheelie Q rubs, seasonings, and gluten-free barbecue sauce. Made with the finest ingredients, Wheelie Q products pack a ton of flavor to your meals, whether it's ribs, chicken, steak, hamburgers, fries, or vegetables. To get your hands on some of these tasty Wheelie Q items, head on over to www.wheelieq.com, and a portion of all profits made will go into finding a cure for spinal muscular atrophy. PCC Multiverse listeners, act now and get 15% off your order today just by entering the promo code POD2. That's POD and the number 2 at checkout. For the tastiest food on the grill, nothing's better than Wheelie Q items today at wheelieq.com. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source, and I'm here with my good friend. He is also from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source, but also Humanica Media as well. It's my good friend. It's Josh Peterson. It's alive, man. It's alive.
Correct. We plugged some jumper cables into it, rigged a shoddy electrical thing to the ceiling, waiting for some lightning and thunder to come down, and boom, Game Source is back. Just stay tuned for the chasing of the monster to the windmill, which will be on next week's episode.
Josh, I want to talk to you about all the love that's continued to be given to Sonic the Hedgehog. More Sonic the Hedgehog is being announced. Not only is Sonic the Hedgehog coming to a comic book store near you with a new comic book series, not only is it coming to theaters in the not too distant future with a movie already, Jim Carrey is already being attached as Dr. Robotnik, but also more revised versions of the original game series. They're coming to a new platform in the Nintendo Switch. With all this love out there that seemingly is apparent for Sonic the Hedgehog, I ask you, my friend, is there enough love out there to support it, or is it just a continual line, as we've seen over the years, of Sega just bleeding this Sonic the Hedgehog dry?
I think it could go any number of ways, because right now Sonic is at a point where people are digging the nostalgia. You remember how stoked they were when Sega got up at their conference earlier this year and announced that there would be a Sega Mini coming out. They didn't make any announcements about North America, but Sonic Mania sold relatively well. That was Sonic Mania came out. And I know they just started releasing physical copies today, or this week sometime, if I remember correctly. But anyways, yeah, there's a lot of love for it. I know, like, their attempts to bring it into the 3D space like they did with wasn't as successful as Mario, and I think that kind of wasn't successful at all. And apparently, according to our top 100 list, people really like Shadow of the Hedgehog. So I think there's a formula in there that they just need to find. But I think until they do find that, they need to hold off on like these big things, like making it a feature film, doing all these other things with it, because while you do want it to be something big, you don't want a movie to come out and have people be like, that was really stupid, and then it just turns them off of Sonic altogether. Where are you standing on this?
I have never been a big fan of the game series. I thought it was all right back in the 90s, but 20 some odd years later, man, I'm still seeing versions and iterations of Sonic still come out. I've had my fill. I've had my fill a long time ago. And I understand these entertaining new audiences now. I know my daughters love every now and then to play a Sonic game and get involved in that. But to me, it's just like, I think, he belongs in a time way back when Sonic the Hedgehog was a creative platformer and was something different. But now a lot of things have been done in that type of realm that we've seen other games do better than anything that's been done in the Sonic series. There's only so much now that Sonic can do that can be different, that I think will keep audiences interested in the product. And making a movie is not one of them. Revising a comic book series is not one of them. Maybe just concentrating fully on revising the old versions and putting them out, like I said, on new platforms such as the Nintendo Switch, and focusing more on the mobile versions so that they're always ready with newer and newer versions of Sonic on your phone or your tablet. That might be where they should keep their focus on and rely upon, rather than trying all these other things that, for someone like me who isn't really that much into the Sonic franchise in the first place, makes it even less interesting than before.
See, I grew up on Sonic, so I always have a soft spot, and I always hope. That's why I don't want them to make a movie, because I would like to see something. Like, I always imagined it would be fun to play a game where Sonic kind of had, not, I don't want to say open world, but an open type level system, like in Super Mario. You have Mario 64, Mario Odyssey, Mario Sunshine, stuff like that. You just have, it's not linear. You have Sonic and you can run around to places really fast and use super speed to do jumps and stuff, but you're not limited to like a hallway type gameplay as you are in these other Sonic games. Like, you have to use Sonic's abilities to like jump up into places, collect power rings or whatever. Put an environment in there where he can interact with it and maybe talk with some NPCs and stuff. Like, that kind of Sonic would be fun, because that's what allowed Nintendo to successfully bring Mario up into the 3D platformer world, and then have him evolve beyond that. But there's a formula with, Sega's still, they're so stuck in a style of gameplay. Like, they, ever since they joined with Atlas, they've kind of been stuck in that anime type thing. And I just don't think they put a lot of care into some of their older flagship properties. While Sonic does still have the favor of the people, I think it's a foolish move to make a movie out of it, because you don't want to make people sick of Sonic or see him as like a stupid, cheesy cartoon or computer animation movie before you're even able to successfully bring him into the modern era.
I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I just think it's not a wise move to do all this extraneous stuff when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog, and just focus on the particulars that could or are a safer bet on being a profitable entity and a profitable outcome, as opposed to something like another comic book spin-off or a movie that could be hitting feature films that would probably leave a lot of bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, most likely. Now, it could be good, it could be, but I am not betting the house on it, that's for sure.
Sonic Mania, I'm probably going to pick up. I've just got such a huge back catalog of games right now, but I'll pick it up and I want to play it, because I know that was a kind of a newer iteration of Sonic, but still incorporating the old. But I'm hopeful that in the future we won't get something like Sonic. I forget what. Hold on, let me look what the last one is called. Sonic Forces. So I'm hoping we won't get something like Sonic Forces again, but we'll get something successful that will rate well and make people interested in Sonic again. Otherwise, in the same way that they're able to bring Crash Bandicoot back to life. Otherwise, I don't see a future for everyone's favorite hedgehog.
Yes, this is true.
Rob McCallum Films is back with a vengeance. This year, we're set to release Power of Grayskull, the definitive history of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, which chronicles the ultimate 80s billion-dollar franchise, Masters of the Universe. See exclusive interviews and hear untold stories from the people responsible for creating the world of Eternia, a place full of magic and science, and learn about the craft of creating action figures and animation. Power of Grayskull drops this year and is just one of our many projects at Rob McCallum Films.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Topicocalypse, the only podcast on the internet. I'm your host, Josh Peterson, one of your hosts, actually, and I'm joined here by Brian Kane, PhD. What up?
It's real.
Oh, it's damn real.
Hell yeah, it is.
It's laminated. True. It's
laminated. It's on the fridge.
In crayon.
In crayon. Also joined here by Big Dog, the Shock Top Master. Wait, is that right? Chugger? Shock Top Drinker? Shock Top Fan.
Just stop.
Drink
no,
some more,
keep
Josh.
going. 20 more times. You'll get it right.
One of these will sound good.
Negative Ghost Rider.
And I'm also joined here by Denial Nice Guy. What's up, buddy?
Sabari.
Nightski, what's up, man?
Sup, bitches?
All right, Denial, you got a topic for us that we're all kind of excited about in the group chat this morning. Tell us about it.
All right, so as he takes a picture, but first let me take a selfie.
Hey, man, why don't you relax?
Why don't you chillax? So, I was thinking about like movies and TV shows that I didn't appreciate when I was younger. I mean, but nowadays I can still quote them or watching them over again. Binge watching like Golden Girls as one.
Shows ahead of
Golden
its times,
Girls,
man.
funny.
It was so funny, but it's like
Josh has a weird
I never
obsession with
appreciated
Golden
it.
Girls.
That's just Betty White. And then like Forrest Gump
If you can't see Josh right now, he's
pitching a tent.
It's nothing to see here.
He's
guys.
going camping.
he's
Nothing
pinching.
to-
He's
nothing to
pinching.
see here, guys.
He's just pinching.
We'll pinch it off. And let's
Pinching
go.
his tent. And then like Forrest Gump, like when I was younger and saw it for the first time, I was like, this is the longest, most boring movie ever.
Really?
I've only seen it once when I was younger, and I could still quote almost like
Sure.
solid quotes from it still. I haven't seen it again.
I think it's one of Tom Hanks' best performances.
It's just one of those things like it took me
Southern
a while to appreciate
simpleton.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It took me a while to appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Did you, as a kid, understand that Jenna is on like coke and heroin?
Yeah,
and
so stuff like that.
Jenna.
I love you, Jenny.
I might
love
not
you.
be what a smart man, Johnny, but I know what love is.
Mama said.
Did you guys ever read at Bubba Gump's where they come around and quiz you on Forrest Gump?
They've never quizzed me, but
Never
they take
eaten there.
forever and their food's horrible at the one I've been to.
Which
Oh.
one? I think they're all the
Chicago.
same, right? So Forrest Gump, Golden Girls.
Yeah, so and it's just like movies movies and TV shows that you never really, took the time to appreciate. You're like, oh, that movie sucked, or that TV show is blah, and now all of a sudden you watch it again when you're older, or you still remember things from it. Like, anybody got any?
Entourage on HBO is another good one too.
That's such a great show.
Well, you watch it as a kid and you're like, oh yeah, a lot of sex jokes, and then you watch it again, truly like see what the story is of like the
Yeah.
struggling actor and the
Right.
the.
You never get the subtext of all the
Yeah,
sexual
yeah.
jokes that are buried within. So there's like the ones that are,
Very
for
deep.
lack of a better phrase, on the nose. Those sex jokes, like as a kid, all right, you get those because they're out in plain sight. But then throughout the rest of the story or whatever arc is developing,
Right.
you definitely get an appreciation of something you can watch again as a kid that you just don't pick up on because you don't have that subtlety.
Like Princess Bride and
Yeah, Princess Bride,
Yeah, that's a
absolutely.
good one. Do you,
a lot of Mel Brooks movies.
Mm.
Blazing Saddles?
Yeah.
That
I
one, and
appreciated that
Spaceballs.
as a kid, though, but I appreciate it as an adult for different reasons now.
Right. Well, so do you know what really got me when I was a kid? I saw Jurassic Park, but I didn't like take the time to notice the soundtrack or the acting or like the Jeff Goldblum. And then I watch it as an adult, as a teenager, and I sit there the first time that they
Make up
pull
your
up
mind as an adult or teenager.
whatever.
No,
you know,
no, no.
18. Okay, I watched when I was 18, and then I watched it, and they get out of the car and they see the dinosaurs for the first time. You hear John Williams' soundtrack playing in the
Mhm.
background, and you're like, dang.
Okay, yeah,
Moving.
Yeah.
Definitely moving.
absolutely, yeah.
What about I think we were talking earlier. Big Dog had mentioned there's even like kids cartoons that you can go to, like SpongeBob.
Dude, you can go farther back than you can go.
Rugrats was good.
Rugrats.
Have you seen the
Angry Beavers?
Angry Beavers was great.
Cat Dog.
Cat Dog.
Have you seen like the fan theory behind Rugrats?
Oh god,
Very tragic.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
Did you read the actual story behind Hey Arnold?
No, I read something about that. Yeah,
Remember
I can't
Doug?
remember.
But
I do remember Doug.
it was a weird thing, and he always did favor the sister. And then later on, Arnold and Helga allegedly got married and all that stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't get that deep into my cartoons, bro. But
No,
alright.
the guy that wrote the cartoon actually said like, "Hey, this is based on real people."
Oh.
But, like, yeah.
What was
Football head.
what was the first thing you guys watched that made you realize that, oh, these are funny and interesting in a different way? Let me go back and watch some of my old stuff and see if I can find it.
Treasure Planet was
Really?
That was just a
fun for
good
me.
movie, dude. It's
But
nothing to make
it's-
you
You
think
watched
about,
it at that right age where it's like, whoa, I really appreciate these. Maybe I'll appreciate.
I appreciated it way later in life, though.
Yeah.
The first Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that was like groundbreaking, though.
I
I
saw
love
it when
that
I was
as a
younger, then I
kid.
watched
That's
it again.
one of
Like,
those-
oh my god, it's still standing. You know,
That's
I
one of
still
those
loved
movies
it.
now where I can't watch it because it's so like you watch it on Blu-ray
childhood
and it's
ruined.
like yes, you see the claymation
I
and
dust
all that.
off. I dust off the VHS player and I played the VHS
There you go.
copy of it.
in true form.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like you can't.
I don't need Goro with high fidelity.
Right.
No.
Right.
Please,
Well, it's
no.
like you can't watch Star Wars on Blu-ray
Well, I watched,
because you see the strings holding up the TIE fighters.
I watched
and
The
stuff.
Dark Knight on Blu-ray on like like the best plasma TV you could buy, and I was just like, "You're ruining this movie for me." I can tell whatever.
Really?
I can tell whatever.
I thought Dark Knight was
whatever's
shot pretty
fake, I
well.
can tell
So
what's fake. What's
there
a model. I can
is
just-
such a
it's
thing
just-
as too much high
There's
def.
too much high def, bro.
I think with the technology, the thing is, it's just like looking at Jurassic Park 2 when there's like CGI was there. It looks really bad, and when you look at it on a high def screen now, it just looks really dated.
Right.
So you see things even 10 years ago, and it's like, ooh, that's dated. You can tell that was a early late 2000s
Dude,
movie.
Rewatch Independence Day.
No,
Ugh, I hated that movie to
once
begin
was
with.
enough. Yeah.
I didn't like. You know
Once
what?
was enough.
Maybe it's because I don't like Will Smith. I didn't like
That's
Men in
probably-
Black
But
either.
he does, does have the Jeff
Jeff
Goldblum. in it.
That's
Goldblum
true. Jeff
is
Goldblum's the
one
man.
of, one of my buddies.
Literally
that-
uses the same line in both movies. Must go faster. Must go faster.
Of course he does.
I went to play poker with Jay Fisher.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's nice.
in his bathroom, he has a shower curtain that has Jeff Goldblum laying sideways on a couch with his shirt undone.
Oh, from Jurassic Park.
It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Make you want to get one. doesn't it?
Excellent.
Uh,
The first thing I saw that made me want to look back is Shrek.
Yeah.
Because Shrek came out right around the time, like the early 2000s, where you were just starting to, as a kid, you're like 12, 13, or I was, starting to get more adult jokes, and your humor was getting more beyond the, oh, haha, you got hit in the face with the pie,
right.
Yeah. then
you know,
now-
and you're starting to
nowadays-
listening to the dialogue.
Or you look back on it, you look at all the digs that Disney threw out it.
Uh-huh.
But you didn't really like. You saw like, okay, yeah, it's like castle, it's like Magic Kingdom. But then you start looking at the little intricacies through there,
Mm-hmm.
and there's even a fan fiction about, or a fan theory about
the Little
Donkey,
Mermaid?
about
And-
Donkey,
And
Oh,
Fiona.
Donkey.
about Donkey
Donkey.
being one of the kids from Pinocchio that got off after turning into a donkey
Yep.
on the island.
Oh.
It's the only thing crazy about that is that it's DreamWorks and not Disney.
Right, but you know what I mean. But like they
Yeah,
try
but
and tie it
that
together
idea
that
to
way
tie it
Right.
together, yeah.
because of some of the comments he makes and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yep.
it's crazy.
People get way into their fan theories. That would be an interesting episode, is to go through some of our favorite fan theories.
It's like people who tie all the Disney movies together.
I think the first
Yeah.
Some
movie,
of them are.
the first
Pixar's
movie where you
for
got like the adult dialogue. Well, for me was when remember in elementary school watching Austin Powers for the first time.
That's a great movie. I rewatched that.
Such a good
like a
movie.
month ago. Hilarious.
I need to watch that.
The
again.
second one with Heather Graham is my favorite.
No, but Liz Hurley though.
Yeah, she is stunning.
Still.
She's so attractive, I don't even want to touch her. But
all right.
but Heather
Well, you can
Graham,
watch.
Heather Graham
Heather
is slightly
Graham.
attainable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. For me, it was. I remember watching Snatch. I thought it was cool because of all the
See you
swearing.
next
Like,
Tuesday.
it's a British
Grab.
movie,
Oh.
and they're swearing
So the
like
swearing
every
is
other
what
word,
got
and I
you.
was like, "This is cool." And then I watched it later on as an adult, and then that's when I truly appreciated like how tight the dialogue was and the scenes, the editing, and all that stuff.
Snatch was the first movie where it was like you had to. There was all these inner. I mean,
It was a funny angle.
no,
Huge.
it was behind you. When you go in reverse, stuff comes from behind you.
Tyrone. He's a rally car driver, ain't you, Tyrone?
But anyways, it was the first movie where there was a ton of intersecting stories. At least for me, there was.
Yeah.
It was obvious. And everybody always, what's that one movie? Everybody fast. What was it about? Crash.
Fast and Furious?
Was it Crash?
Yeah,
No,
Crash.
no,
Where
not
everyone's
Fast and
life
Furious.
is intertwined.
Where
Yeah.
all the stories are like come together.
Oh, that,
Yep.
that movie wrecked my head.
But that Snatch was the first one for me. It showed all these different storylines, and they like do.
You start to appreciate the complexity of story and
Yeah.
dialogue
Yes.
and more than just.
So, what was the first movie you guys watched that made you truly appreciate storytelling?
like actual storytelling to me was Crash.
Crash. Okay.
When I saw that movie, I was like, my mind got
From a
blown.
story point of view,
Storytelling from
Right.
a cinematic point of view.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Godfather.
Was it?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Casino too.
Oh, Casino's so good. I
If you,
watched
had,
on.
if you had like what 4 hours,
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Just
opening
tapes.
scene is always ruined for me though for Casino, because you can clearly
yeah.
see at the last second the frame goes to a mannequin,
Yes.
Ah.
and
yeah.
it's just that first intro it's like but then once you get past that the movie's perfect, literally perfect.
I think for me, the first time I truly appreciated storytelling in a movie was Kingdom of Heaven with Orlando Bloom.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Because-
sure it wasn't What's Eating Gilbert Grape,
No, yeah,
Benny
right.
and Jim.
Did you ever see the? It has Helen Mirren in it, Liam Neeson.
Taken?
Taken
no,
52.
no. This is like way,
Love Actually.
way back. It's about King Arthur and
Darkman.
No, it's I believe it's called Camelot.
Liam Neeson was also in Kingdom of Heaven.
Yeah, I know. He was in everything. He trained Batman.
He
and-
had an
and
arrow in his
Obi-Wan.
testicle.
Yeah.
They
Was it
said.
First Night?
You know what?
No, God, it's such a terrible movie.
You know what got me for storytelling? Speaking of Liam Neeson,
Shazam,
Schindler's List.
Oh,
Really good. Gladiator.
Sling Blade.
Yeah,
I remember seeing Gladiator as a kid in the theaters, and I just remember that this is awesome.
and that got
That
so
got me.
Gladiator.
That got me into history.
See, that's fair. Gladiator got me into action and appreciating a good action sequence, and then to me, Troy is one of the best.
dang.
That is such an all-star cast, and then same with like Black Hawk Down.
Troy was more like
Historically accurate.
No, well, not even that, but like action-y oriented. There was these big elaborate fights.
Yeah, not as much of a story.
Yeah, I mean, Gladiator was like a story.
Yeah, Schindler's List for me though, still that's
Yeah,
that's a story of a story. That is heartbreaking.
Or have you ever watched? I remember watching the movie Patton when I was like 6.
It's a good pull.
When I was like 6.
You don't get it.
No, I didn't get it at the time, but then I watched
come
it
back
again
and watch it.
It's such a good
Oh, yeah.
movie.
Is there any movies you guys saw like Patton? I think as a 6-year-old, that's a little young to watch.
I watched all kinds of crap when I was supposed to.
Are there any?
I remember my grandfather taking me to the theater when I was a kid to go see Saving Private Ryan.
Ooh, that's a tough one, man.
I mean,
Was that
like
Shaving Private Ryan.
Shaving Ryan's Privates.
no, Saving.
That was one you saw with your grandma.
No, I visited Grandma's house.
Over the meadow and through the woods.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Brian?
I think I saw T2.
Terminator 2
Was the like when I was younger. That was the first R-rated movie I saw.
was
No, but
what was the first?
But did the story affect you like that?
Oh no.
Oh.
What was the So what was the first movie you guys saw, or like
ever?
like what you know what you, as a young kid? Do you guys remember any movies that you, looking back on it now, you definitely should not have watched as a young kid?
Land Before Time.
Everything. I saw every horror movie before I was 10. Everyone.
Ooh, did it
Everything.
affect you?
Freddy. No. Well, I can go to
Have you met him?
Not Scary Farm. I can watch any scary movie and nothing bothers me.
Right, but as a kid, when you're growing up, like
Oh, it terrified
being
the
10,
shit. Well,
12, where you're like,
at my grandfather's house, the refrigerator was right next to the door to the garage.
mhm.
And I swear to God, and the light switch to turn on the lights in the kitchen was right next to the door. So you had to bolt to the thing, hit the light, run back, then run back to the fridge, grab what I needed, hit the light,
Oh my
and run
God.
back. Because I
Terrifying.
was terrified that Freddy Krueger was going to grab me from outside the door.
Well, so it's like when I was talking when we did the one about childhood
Salty.
hauntings.
Salty.
When we did Salty. I was talking about. I told my wife how I brought up her whole freak out. I totally forgot that when she got home that night, she sat upright in the middle of her bed and would not fall asleep and wouldn't lay down nothing because it'd be too close to the edge of the bed. Her dad came in and checked on her like 5 times, and she was wide awake, sitting in the middle of her bed. She was afraid to go to sleep because she thought that Pennywise is going to come off underneath the bed and grab her.
Pennywise is messed up, man.
There's a movie, it's an old sci-fi movie. I think it's called Invaders from Mars or something like that, where they like to control the Martians to control people. They kidnap you.
Mars Attacks, right?
No,
Yes,
no. This is like way before that. They drill the thing into the back of your neck, and you have an X Band-Aid over the. And I remember I saw it, and I was like looking around, looking at people's back of the neck, see if they had them. That's the tell. Is you have the Band-Aids in the back of the neck. So I'm like looking at everybody's back of the neck, like, let me see first.
When I was a kid, I watched this black and white horror movie with my grandpa, and it's the first time I'd ever seen like
what was it?
That my mind was open to the concept of someone getting like you can take a sharp object and jam it into somebody's like flesh.
Psycho.
So I think it was Psycho when she gets stabbed in the back in the shower. And so for like I think a couple weeks after that, like I would always walk with my back to the wall. Because I was terrified of
how many times
they do that in prison too, Josh.
How many times when you go into the bathroom by yourself do you check behind the shower curtain before you sit down on the toilet? It's like maybe sometimes you might not even notice you do it.
Or you're standing in the shower and the
Gotcha, bitch.
In those situations, what
I was just
gets
saying
me
a tower in the bathroom, like no one's coming in here.
After Snakes on a Plane, I was afraid to sit on the toilet for a bit. I was always like weary of looking down to make sure, because you do see stories of stuff like that actually happening in like Florida and stuff.
Biting your coin purse, that's the worst.
Well, it's from freaking Florida. Nobody likes Florida.
Did you guys, speaking of snakes, did you guys see in Indonesia over the weekend the lady that got eaten alive by a snake?
Second time in the same year.
And they didn't realize.
How does that happen though? Because
snake was 23 feet long.
Are they fast though? I mean, couldn't you like yell and get help?
It's a constrictor. So what it does is it bites you and constricts to take away your airway.
Anaconda. Speaking of movies we didn't appreciate
God.
back
So
when
when it squeezes you, it takes all the air out of your lungs, so you can't scream and make a noise.
Dang.
Can you imagine just being slowly digested?
No.
Jeez.
Rather not, thanks.
And then they see the snake. There's the video, and it's like snake, and it's like all right, big, and it's hardly moving. And then you see in the middle of it a person-sized like lump through its stomach.
So
the ones that get me are the ones where they eat the alligators, and the alligator wakes up halfway through and he tears the snake, and they both die.
Yeah, because it just opened up.
Yeah.
Jeez. It's terrifying.
It's a plague.
Does the snake have enough stuff to break down a human body?
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
Well,
it's gonna take a while.
They break down what they can, and then they vomit everything else up.
Yeah. But that snake probably, I mean, it's very unlikely that the snake would have survived because it's not moving, because it's so full. And so the human, normally what gets you like...
They found it. They had it. They took a picture with her inside the snake.
Yeah, but the point is it's not moving fast.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like, oh, I'm going to go hide. And
it's kind of like a shark. If it stops moving, it dies.
The Great Outdoors?
It's the greatest movie
What?
ever.
No.
You really have...
No.
Okay, to be fair, I had not seen The Great Outdoors until I met Josh Peterson. And then I watched The Great Outdoors, and I will forever thank Josh Peterson for introducing me to The Great Outdoors.
The greatest.
I don't know,
No,
actually.
It's on nothing. It's on nothing. I think you can rent it on like
you probably rent it on YouTube or something like that for $2.99.
Did you know that Josh and Justin had never seen Days of Thunder?
Oh, that's such a... I watched that a few weeks ago.
I've seen it now.
Because I showed it to you.
As a dude playing in...
I met somebody who's never seen that.
I've never
Tropic
seen
Thunder.
I've never seen it.
That's another one. That's on Netflix.
Okay.
Denied.
Tropic Thunder. Yes. Tropic Thunder is on Netflix.
It's a great hour and a half.
But you got to watch Great Outdoors.
I mean, it's Great Outdoors. It's amazing.
It's gold.
All right, guys. Any closing thoughts on this? I feel like we can go on forever with this.
No, I think we're good now.
No?
Movies.
All right, cool, guys.
Go
Well,
on
you
forever
can
about movies.
You can find this podcast and more on Podbean, podcast.com, Google Play, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and iTunes, and other great podcasting outlets around the globe. We have an email address at what, Big Dog?
Topicapocalypse at gmail.com.
Social media, we're at Denial.
Facebook, Twitter, and the Instagram at Topicapocalypse.
I barely check my email.
All right, cool, guys.
No Snapchat.
Until next time.
If you're tired of sifting through flea markets for rare and unique games, we can help. Retro City Games in Henderson, Nevada, only 5 minutes from the Las Vegas Strip, has all your favorite gaming staples, classics, and a wide selection of rare games with new stuff always appearing on our shelves. Come in and chat with Nicole or Doug about your love of games and watch as they help you complete your collection or find your childhood favorite. And don't forget, Retro City Games loves trade-ins. So if you have any Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, Xbox, PlayStation, or even PC games, come in and visit Retro City Games today. Welcome to the new metropolis of gaming, Retro City Games.
That'll do it for another edition of the PCC Multiverse. If you have questions for us, please feel free to share it with us and contact us at any time via our social media at Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, Pop Culture Cosmos on Twitter, also as well popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Be sure to check us out on our Monday show because it is our 100th episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos, and it's going to be a special in-house type of deal where I'm actually going to be recording it with Josh, Big Dog, and a whole bunch of other guests inside the inner lair of Humanica Media. We're going to be taping it next week as a special 100th episode of Pop Culture Cosmos, so I can't wait for that. For Josh Peterson, Salvador Villa, and Rob McCallum, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening, and here's hoping you have yourself a great day.
ESO. 7 years of keeping it really geeky.
Hey! What are you trying to do? You ruined my record, man. I just bought it.
Hey, you guys! How exciting! Spoilers!
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Bye, boys. Have fun storming the castle. Think it'll work?
It would take a miracle.
Goodbye.
The Earth Station 1 podcast. It's time to let your inner geek out to play. You can find them at www.earthstation1.com or up on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or wherever fine podcasts are found. Peace, and we're done.
You're listening to a Weeby Geeks Network podcast.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Tangent Bound Network. Let your voice be heard. TangentBoundNetwork.com.
Thanks so much for downloading the Pop Culture Cosmos, and stay tuned as more great podcasts are on the way. Thanks again for listening to us here at the Pop Culture Cosmos.